Hello everybody, my name is Bertrand Dory and I welcome you to Design Your Dream Life. In the next hour or so, I am intending to inspire you to take action and the next step in designing the life of your dream. So sit back and relax and enjoy. Hello everybody, and my name is Bertrand Dory, and it is such a pleasure to be talking to you like every week. You know, I am waiting on Wednesdays to be able to be here with you and welcome you to this show. And I am waiting on Wednesdays to be able to inspire you every week. And I hope that you are starting to believe more that you too have a unique voice, that you too have a voice that you can use and make a difference in the world. And that would be my biggest thank you gift. If some of you will be able to start to believe, start to be open to the possibilities, and start to make changes in their life that is bringing them joy and fulfillment, and also joy and fulfillment for people around us. You know, when I look at my daughter and how she changed over the year, that I did my work, my inner work, and how I changed and how I managed to offer her something unique. And now she is this beautiful girl, even doing drama, which means it's a big leap forward. Can you imagine a girl that was so feeling unloved and feeling rejected, and now she's on the stage, exposed, vulnerable, in front of everybody, facing her biggest fears and doing this. How beautiful is this? And that, I know, it's only because I changed. So if you want to see the change in your life, then be the change. You can be it. You have it. The only thing between you and your dreams is you. The only thing between where you are now and your dreams is you. And I'm here to help you. And I hope that bringing you guests every week on this show will help you moving forward in your life. And this week I have something so exciting that it's just launching this week, and over the next month it will have so much momentum. But you know what? It is probably the best way I have found so far to help people reaching their dreams in the money aspect of things, of their life, in the financial aspect, in the wealth aspect. And I have been scouting around and asking the universe to help me to find something for me, for my friends, but also for people that I know need this little nudge, this little gift. And this gift came to me in the form of a great opportunity, and I want to share this with you. So if you're interested, then simply drop me an email. My email is Bertrand, so my first name, so BERTRAND, at designyourdreamlife.org. And you will find more information on my blog, which is designyourdreamlife.org, of how to contact me, and also on the radio blog, radio.designyourdreamlife.org. You see, I make everything easy for you. It is all designyourdreamlife.org. And just remember that I couldn't get the .com, and that will help you. But honestly, it is something quite exceptional, and I would like to invite you. So let's go back to the show of today. And today I have a guest that for me is special. I have Christie Sheldon. And why is Christie so special for me? It's because, you know, when I was starting my own journey, one of the first things that I really embraced after Tony Robbins for years was something that I did not really understand, was the power of love. And it was before the book from Rhonda Byrne, The Power. And I came across the work of Christie Sheldon on something called Love or Above. And I didn't really understand it when I bought it, but something felt right. And I did this tool set or toolkit, I don't know how you call this set of CDs, let's say. That's what it is for me. And I did it, and I kind of saw and felt a change inside me. And since I started this radio show, I wanted to have Christie on the show because she had such an impact, and now she is here, and I am blessed, and I'm so grateful to be sharing Christie and her wisdom with you. Just before we start, I must say that when I was talking to her, the first 10 seconds were a shock for me, because this was the woman that I was listening over and over and over on CDs, and here she was talking to me, and that was so exceptional. So I invite you to sit back, to relax. This is going to be something very different, but I hope that at the end of this interview that you will value love above anything else, and that you will value and have your main task to vibrate love or above. So sit back, relax. So welcome back to the show, and here I have the privilege to have Christie Sheldon on the line. Christie, are you here?
Yeah, hi. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you very much for accepting to be on this show. Christie, before we start, I really would like to say thank you to you, and now it's my opportunity to say this to you, using my voice and talking to you. Thank you because when I was at my lowest point last year, your program was one of the first that really helped me to rebuild myself and be conscious that I could do far more in my life. And I listened to it probably 10 or 15 times and really worked on it. So thank you very much because it really changed my life.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you. I mean, I'm so happy for you. That's really why I did the program. It was just, for me, it was just, I just want people to understand that, it's like just our limiting beliefs or thoughts or how we grew up and all those kind of things can be changed, just redoing the program so that we can all kind of bump up in the world. Whatever our version of that is.
Yeah, and it was really this. It was really, I think it was more for me to be aware that I had my own power, but I think it was also the fact that you're laughing all the time, even on the program, and that's really helping to take the things that are very deep and very serious into a different way, and that helped me so much, Christy. You can't imagine. Really, thank you.
Oh, good. Thank you. Yeah. My pleasure. I have a lot of people comment. They're like, "You're laughing through the whole thing. You're not so serious." And I'm like, "Well, the spirituality thing doesn't have to be serious, and it doesn't have to be hard work. We can add a lightness to it, which is actually more truly who we are." So, yeah.
Yeah, you're right, and I think a lot of people are taking this very seriously, and they forget to laugh through their spiritual path.
Yeah.
So, Christy, before we get started really in this interview, could you talk about yourself a little bit and tell us who you are? Because I guess some people don't know about you, and it would be nice just to be able to connect with yourself here.
Yeah, so for me, my spiritual journey was, just as everybody else's, pretty much all my life. I was pretty intuitive as a kid, but I would predict kind of things that most parents don't want to hear. So, like for instance, when I was 11 years old, I got a picture. I woke up one morning and I said, I told my mom, I think my dad's going to be in an accident today, and it was their 13th wedding anniversary, which was kind of interesting. And she said, "Oh, no, he's not. And later on in that day, there was a tow truck that was pulling a car out of the ditch, but he wasn't using his lights. And so literally my dad had to duck in order to not be decapitated from, the tow truck driver's, the tow rope across the road. And so as a kid, I would oftentimes just have these insights that just kind of popped into my head. And I kind of shut it off because it was a little scary. Later on in my life, but the thing that happened for me, which I would encourage everybody to do, is even as a youngster, I would pray to know the truth about how everything works. That was like the underlying fundamental thing that I think that I did that really set my life up. And so along the way, I was kind of guided to different books or things like that. And but what when I finally kind of woke up, this these beings of light, some might call them angels or whatever you want to call them, just sort of said, hey, we're going to show you how to help people. And we don't want you reading any more books. What we actually just want to do is just download it into you and teach you. And so I had some interesting things happen. Like a chiropractor sent me this guy. He said, hey, I'm hearing for some reason that you can fix this person, so I'm going to send him to you. Is that okay? And he sent me this guy, and this guy had never been able to, like he can't sit more than 20 minutes, his back hurt. And so I basically, when he came over, I saw what was up, pulled the energy out of his back, and literally he could walk. And he actually built a shed for himself. He said, but Christie, you don't understand, because I never really asked him his story. I didn't want to know too much of the story. The trick with healing is you don't really want to know the story because you don't want to believe it.
True.
Yeah. And so he said, I fired the guy that was building my shed. And so I've been lifting wood and going up and down stairs. And he had waited a couple of weeks to come see me. And he said, the reason I waited a couple of weeks is because I wanted to make sure it lasted. And so it lasted. And for me, that was, within a few months after those beings of light had showed up, And so for me, it was like, okay, so this really works. And then I just, from there on, I just kind of trusted and went along with the program. And then I thought, okay, so if they can download the information into me, I can help download the information into other people. And so that's really my forte. Is what I do is I transmit a lot of energy and information in the energy to people. So that's why when people listen to my CDs over and over again, it's not necessarily the words, although the words are helpful. It's really just the frequency or the energetic idea of truth, that kind of opens people up and enlightens them. So that's so I worked on over 10,000 people. I've been doing it a while. I've done radio shows and things like this. And so it's just really my true pleasure to, help as many people as I can to, as we're going to talk about a little bit on this interview, is lift their energetic frequency so that they can truly live a life that they love and enjoy. And that's really my mission in the world.
Yeah, and I guess that because we are on Law of Attraction Radio Network, so one of the focus is around conscious living, but also about being able to create the life that we really deserve, and also applying the law of attraction, of course. And what I found is that you can only do this once you have a certain level of energy, a certain vibration. And that's really what I learned from you, and I'm really, really grateful that we're going to go a bit deeper here with you. But before we continue, what is really interesting for me is your experience as a child, and how you could see things or foresee things, and your parents, how were they reacting to you? How would they listen to you, and what would they say back to you? That's really interesting me, because I am a single dad of 11 years daughter, who I think is very, very awakened and very aware of what's happening around her.
Yeah, so well, that's like the optimal parent to have. My parents were very young when they had me. So if you really, I can't even imagine having a kid when I was like in my early 20s, And so, I mean, seriously. So, they had me early 20s, like I think my mom was 21-ish when she had me. And so, they did the best they could, but, they were kids. And so how they reacted to me is, truthfully, everybody in my life pretty much always thought I was a little weird. And it's kind of interesting. If you ever look up in the dictionary the word weird, it actually means supernatural. I remember one time waking up and going, "Hey mom, do you think I'm kind of weird?" And she goes, "Yeah." So, so I was kind of a hard kid to handle, because the teenager who kind of rebels and, does all the stuff that you really, and is in trouble and grounded a lot. I was kind of that kid, because and this is kind of interesting, and this is why I'm bringing it up. A lot of really intuitive kids get a little angry around lies and falsehood. So what I notice is if I sense my energy getting a little angry or tense, it means I'm probably surrounded by something that's not true. And so a lot of the kids, you may have heard the term indigo children, right? They're the reason they're kind of rebellious and act out is because they're literally hardwired for truth. And so if anything hits their energy field that's kind of false or judgmental or lower energy, they kind of react because they're literally just trying to, like a fly swatter, you know what I mean? They're just trying to swat that energy away and they push it out of them really quickly, usually in the form of like frustration or anger. So if there's parents listening who have kids like that, maybe they're actually really just intuitive and they're picking up the fields of energy around them. So, so my parents didn't really know what to do with me and they did the best that they could. And tried to love me a lot and just kind of get through it.
Yeah, it is really really funny, and it's really difficult for me to imagine yourself as a rebellious teenager. But anyway, it's what you were. But it's true that I did not realize that the fact that these children were, and yourself also, were surrounded by a vibration that was not matching or was not true to them. That's what made them sad and angry and maybe hurt. And that's really a good insight. And thank you very much for sharing this, because sometimes I don't really understand why there is such a shift of mood with my daughter. And maybe this is the reason why, because there's a shift of energy around her. And
Well, she's either picked up something, or often they can feel the energy of whoever they're around. So then often parents should look inside and say, well, am I not dealing with something I'm frustrated with? And so my kid is being a gift to me and showing me my own energetic frustration, because they can literally soak it up. And if you're not willing to be conscious of something, take it into them as well and kind of mirror it back to us. And if they watch a lot of TV that has a lot of violence or things like that, I really don't recommend that, because obviously kids will soak that stuff up.
yeah, completely, yeah. And yes, you're right. And that's why I also noticed this, that yeah, a little bit too long in front of the television, it's really a change. It's a different child, completely. And yeah, we try to avoid this also.
Yeah, so nature, being outside, being able to expand their energy and connect to everything that's alive and well, that's actually really what a kid needs.
Yeah, completely. Thank you. And I think that this is what we're trying to do. But you're right. That's where, when they connect with something bigger and something that where they feel that they can connect and they have a chance to be at peace, I think that this is really working, at least for my daughter.
Yeah.
Um, there's one thing also that I want to share, just as an anecdote, is that when I was listening to your CDs, I try to avoid the term tape because it makes me feel old. But um, when my daughter was getting very angry in the car, I was really doing what you suggested, which was sending her love anyway. So can you talk about a little bit the vibration of the scale that you have of vibration and the level, and what does it mean to be at the level of love or above?
Yeah, that's a really, really great question. So there's a scale of consciousness that I read about in a book called Power versus Force with Dr. David Hawkins. And what was interesting is the scale put into perspective some of the things that I was seeing in my own like practice. So imagine a scale 0 to 1,000. Christ and Buddha, are enlightened. And also imagine that at the lowest part of this on scale, at scale number 20, like let's just say level number 20, is the energy called shame. And shame means I am not enough. Okay, so if, and oftentimes again, we'll go to parents for a minute. We've all had this happen to us from our own parents, and a lot of parents have probably done this. But, it's where we kind of shame or guilt our kids, right? And that's one of the lower energies. So shame is 20, which means I am not enough, and 30 is guilt, which means I am bad. Okay, so basically what we're doing is we're making kids feel bad about who they are as souls. Going up the scale, apathy is 50. So apathy means, I just really don't care anymore and I don't want to do anything. Grief is 75. Oh, by the way, Hitler's energy measured at about 45. Okay, so he was somewhere between apathy and guilt. So he actually really did know what he was doing, at some level wasn't making himself vibrate and feel good about himself. Grief, yeah, so grief is at 75, fear 100, anger 150. And I kind of like it when people get, sometimes people are afraid of anger, but I know if I'm working with a client, let's just say the subject is money and they have like weird money blocks. A lot of people feel shamed about money or guilt about how they've handled it, right? So if I can get them up, and then apathy, they don't want to do anything about it, fearful to even look at it, right? And if I can get them angry, what I really know for sure is they're going to go up higher, because anger is kind of a moving energy that just kind of pushes people up to the top.
Is the anger kind of the tipping point between the two groups of energy? Would you say this?
I would say that because it's like a push. It's like putting a rocket booster onto them a little bit. Because at 200 is the level, like 175 is the level of pride, and 200 is courage. So if they can move past the anger, then they can at least have pride for themselves and a little courage to do something different, you know? So that's like when we're willing to be a little more conscious and aware and look at what we're doing. If we're stuck in fear, grief, or shame, that immobilizes people and they don't want to do anything about it. But at least if you get irritated enough to say, screw this, I'm not going to do this anymore. At least I know they're cooking. And then we move up to like willingness. Willingness means that we have a desire to want something more in our life. Acceptance means that we kind of accept that, okay, we're a soul and a body, and okay, I guess we can do something a little more with our lives. Reasoning, all the sciences measure in the 400s. Albert Einstein's vibration was at 499. And then we get to my favorite, which is love, and love is at the level of 500. And joy is at the level of 540. So when somebody's body or energy or money situation or money block or any block that they have in their life gets healed, it's usually because they're vibrating at love or above, because that's actually where the healing occurs. And once you transform the energy into love or above, where you can love your money, love what it brings you, feel that you can actually do something about your life, that's the energy of love and joy. And that's why I laugh a lot on my CDs, is because I'm usually feeling the energy. I'm trying to use the energy of joy to help transfer the energy, change the quality of energy that people are feeling.
Yeah, but yeah, just a little point here. You are saying that if you start to love what you can do with money and what money can bring you and so on, that's perfect when you have the money. But normally when you are stuck about money, it means that we don't have it or we can't attract it in our life. So how can we love something that we can't really attract yet?
Yeah, so that's why you have to go up the scale a little bit. So you're going to have to figure out where you're located on the scale. Are you guilty about money? Are you fearful? Are you ashamed? Are you angry? Like any of those emotions. Kind of locate where you're at. And then with a series of tools, just literally vibrate it up a little bit to neutral. Okay, so neutral energy is about 250. If you can get to neutral, where you like kind of care but you don't care, Yeah. Like, okay, I have this money situation and now I can see that there's something that's a little more possible or positive, right? So if you can get to that place, then you can start moving up into love. But seriously, if you just take the simple, let's just take it down to simplicity. Everybody knows what it feels like to love. So if I ask everybody who's listening to this call right now to think of something they love more than anything, it could be their kids, it could be a pet, it could be a certain travel location that they've been to that they just love to go to, so there's this feeling in our body of love. And if you feel that feeling and then you take out, I'm from America, so I'll say a dollar bill or $100 bill. So I'm not sure what.
We're using the euro here, so
Oh, okay. Thank you. I'm going, I don't know the translation system. Okay, so so you can take out a euro and literally just kind of think, okay, so if it's if it's possible for me to love this, what could I love about it? Because, the reason we want it is because it gives us a sense of freedom in some form, right? So what we really, really, really love is freedom. And I think everybody can feel or think about the idea of the love of freedom of it, right? And if they just spent a little time every day loving what they think this tool called money, because it's just a tool, um, can bring into their life and focus on the positive qualities, that will literally start changing the energy. Just being grateful. Sometimes I say to people, if you're so down and out, can you just find a little gratitude that you're breathing? Just find the one little thing that you can truly be grateful for and hold on to that feeling for long enough, and then it'll start clearing all the old stuff out about, money. But yeah, no, you're right. But so you have to start somewhere. And I just say to people, start where you can start, If you can imagine having it at one time in your life and you had plenty of it and you can kind of focus on what that feels like for a little while every day, then you're applying love or above energy to it. So so for you, I've been in a place where I've had literally no money. I had to put myself through college, and I worked a couple jobs to do that, and I really had no money. But at that time, I was conscious enough to visualize my future, how I really, 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 really wanted it, and kind of loving it enough. I didn't judge it that I didn't have it right then. I just said, okay, it's where it's at, and I let that go. I became a little neutral about where I was, and then I put all my focus on feeling and seeing what the future is. And within a short amount of time, I had a lifestyle that, most people could only really dream of. So it happened really quickly once when I was younger, in my early 20s.
Yeah, and I kind of get this, that it is first a decision for you to, for me and for everybody to accept, not to accept, but to say, I don't want this anymore, but really what I want is this, and just be determined to vibrate to this level as much as we can. And
Yeah, and be gentle on yourself, because you're just some days it'll be a little harder and some days it'll be a little easier, but I can guarantee you, if anybody does this for about 6 weeks, something will change. You know what I mean? Something really has to change if you're willing to do it for long enough. I mean, some people call me, they're 50 years old and they have like whatever issue is. It could be relationship issues, these patterns that block us, self-esteem, depression, all these things. But if they're willing to work on themselves, for 6 weeks, to only take 6, 7, 8 weeks and transmute and change something that you've been living with for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, that's huge.
That's huge, yeah, completely huge, yeah. And I found that when I was on this journey at the start, because now it's different, and it's quite difficult even to relate now back to when I started this journey. But I found it was easier for me just to ignore this and to go, I'm going to watch television instead. But now it's completely different, because now I know that whatever I'm vibrating now will have a consequence tomorrow, and that I want tomorrow to feel better, and that's why I'm choosing at each moment just to be aware of my vibration, and then to strive to emit love as much as I can. But it is really, sometimes it is a conscious decision, and sometimes it's more difficult than just putting our bomb in front of the television and just doing nothing.
Yeah, because along the way you have to transmute and change those patterns. Like when I look at somebody's energy field, I can say to them, think of money, or think of like whatever their problem is, depression, right? And when they think about it, their energy system kind of lights up to me like a video game or a pinball machine. Some parts are really kind of heavy. It might be the right side or behind them. A lot of people take all the things they don't want to deal with and just stack all that energy behind them, and then they have like back problems later on in life, or things that we think about that create us having a pain in the tush, So like those things like will cause lower back pain. And so those are unhandled emotions and patterns. And so if you catch yourself in the middle, like anybody listening, if you think about one part of your life where it just kind of drives you nuts, whatever that part of your life is, you have usually a lot of heavy patterns in it. And so, when the patterns love you enough that they're going to show themselves to you. So when you're on this journey, some days it'll be pretty easy and some days it won't. But the days it won't, it's just because your patterns love you enough to show themselves so that you can fix them. And basically they'll just keep showing themselves to you to you fix them. So you don't really have, people think that they have a choice. You don't really have a choice because because your patterns are gonna just keep showing themselves until you somewhere deal with it.
Yeah, and
Right?
it's
Yeah.
completely true. And what I would like to share here also is that when you are in this phase where you start to shift your pattern, your old pattern wants to stay here also, and then there is a kind of a battle inside us, and that's where we feel the really not really well. And I found out when at this moment when I can feel that I have this kind of battle inside me between the old pattern and the new one that want to emerge, and the vibration of love and everything is just mixed up inside me with different vibration, that if I just decide to move one step further or two steps further, then the higher vibration wins, and then after it's um, a far better outcome, a far better also outlook. Just after this little more, this little work on myself.
That's great. That's awesome because you recognized what's going, you applied consciousness to it and truth to it and love to it enough to pay attention to how your internal meter kind of feels when you're moving through patterns. And yeah, so the tools that I give in my Lover Above toolkit are really designed to help people go through the different layers from different angles because some people might do it a little bit different than you do. It might feel different in my body than it feels in your body. And so that's why I included a lot of tools that people can use to work through that.
Yeah, but I was completely hermetic at the start, and Christy, when I was trying to feel things inside me, I couldn't feel anything.
Oh, okay.
But
Well, that's good. No, that's actually great that you brought that up. A lot of people can't feel, and then but you probably decided to keep going with it, and then somewhere you could at some point, right?
yeah, and I will tell you why I was keeping on going, and after we come back to this, is one day I was in the car, and my daughter was very angry, and I just used the Christie thing of sending love, no matter what. And my daughter looked at me and said, "You know what, Dad? I don't like when you're doing this, because I'm angry and I can feel that you still love me, and I don't know what to do now." and,
Wow, that's great. That's awesome.
and that's why I chose really to go on this journey, because that was proof for me that this works.
Wow, you just changed the state just in the middle of it. That's awesome. Yeah, kids respond quickly to truth. They can really feel that energy.
Yeah, and they respond more to energy and the way we are than the word we use, or even what we tell them.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, completely.
It's actually if we all ask ourselves in any situation, what kind of energy am I bringing to the table right now? What kind of energy, that's usually what response is going to come from it. If you're bringing anger to the table, you're probably going to get a lot of little angry things coming back to you. If you bring love to the table or to the energy field of who you're dealing with, then see, love really does heal a lot of things. It opens up the field of possibility for something new to show up.
Yeah, completely.
So,
So
so that's
we were talking before, Christy, about people who didn't feel anything, and it would be nice if because you were just starting to tell us, and I interrupted you. So sorry.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, I was just saying a lot of people don't feel, and that's because life became kind of heavy. So let's just imagine that you're a baby and you come into the world and you're kind of all shiny and new, except for if your mom was under stress a lot while she was pregnant, then you probably imprinted your mother's stress already. So I see a lot of people when I go in to help them change some of these blocks when I look at where the source is, sometimes it's even in utero where the stress of the mother was given to the baby. But But so what happens is life gets a little hard or a little heavy, and then what we do is we sort of shut down our energy system because we don't want to feel anything anymore. And so if you can't feel, then usually you've decided along the way in your journey that it wasn't safe to feel or it wasn't safe to be here. And can you kind of see how all those things get a little tangled up in the energy of shame, which means I am not enough? Because if you sort of feel that it's not safe to feel, then you're somehow thinking, I can't show up as myself, so it's not safe to be myself, right? So usually it's tied to shame or guilt, the lower energies, if somebody can't feel. And that usually, could be maybe your parents didn't make you feel safe to be around, or you got teased or bullied as kids. Like that creates a lot of long-term damage on people. I've seen a lot of clients, later on in life, 40, 50, 60, 70, right? And that energy of being bullied, or I'm not enough, or I'm not valuable, really carries through, because I can still see that pattern, So I've had many 50-year-olds, I just say, hey, you got this pattern of, I'm not enough. And it just started when they were kids. And they're like, wow, that's still in there. Yeah, but you can't see it anymore because you piled on more other stuff on top of it, in order to just be here. So for those of you listening too, just remember this truth. If you feel heavy in your body, or there's a heaviness to you, heaviness is lies or falsehood or density, which isn't higher vibrations, right? And truth and light and who you are as a spirit, like love, joy, peace, enlightenment, all those vibrations will feel light in your body, like you can breathe. So I'm curious, Bertrand, have you felt lighter can you tell a change now in your life? Like, do you feel lighter in your body?
Oh yeah, I can feel completely lighter, and it's even when I'm walking now. Sometimes I even have this little spring in my walk, and yeah, everything is lighter. But where I also find this is when I look around. The same thing that I saw 1 year or 2 years ago are now looking so beautiful. I just find beauty everywhere.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, when you get lighter, literally, I've worked on so many clients that I've had people say after I clear one of their patterns, they'll say the room that I'm sitting in looks brighter, because it's like these filters got cleared off their energy field, and they can actually literally see the world in Technicolor, as it really is. Every tree is full of light, every leaf is full of light, every person is full of light, and then you can start seeing the world how it really, really is.
Yeah, and I see more depth even in clouds. This morning I was just walking, and I was looking at the sky, and I was just amazed by the depth of the sky, and the different shades and everything. And it's the same sky that I saw 1 year ago, and but I never saw this.
Oh, that is great. I'm excited for you.
It is exciting, yeah. When you start really to see this, it's amazing, in fact.
Yeah, so and you would probably also say that your life is a lot easier, because once that happens, then too, it's kind of easier to recognize something. Number one is probably easier to recognize when you're a little off, and it's probably easier to just go through life and see what else matches that lightness.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if we all just choose from, if every choice of ours aligned up with how we want to be in the future, like, hey, do I really want this in my life in the future? And then chose from that place, people will start noticing that their choices will either feel light or heavy in their body. And if it's heavy, we probably shouldn't do it. And if it's light, it'll lead us to lover above energy.
Yeah, completely. Yeah, but there is a sometimes difficulty of, for me at least, is to know whether it is heavy because it is not a good decision, or whether it is heavy because it's my own fears of moving forward. And that's something I still can't really differentiate.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's it. Okay, I get that. That is an interesting, that does come up for sure. What I usually find is if we bring in a lot of love for a little bit, like if that pattern shows up where you can't tell if it's fear of the future or if it's heaviness because I shouldn't go forward. Just bring in a lot of love for a day or two, and then check in with whatever you were deciding, you know, again, and see if it still feels the same. Yeah. So sometimes you're right. You know, if we're going to make a big change into the world or go forward, you know, should I move to this part of the world or should I move here? Should I move to that house? You know, sometimes you might have to sit with that a minute and 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 um and for some people, I'm not sure if muscle testing's easy for you or not, but for some people that's why I included a little bit more work on the muscle testing or feeling yes, feeling no, so that there's different ways that they can check in and figure that out for themselves.
Yeah, muscle testing is the feeling one is still difficult for me, but I'm doing the other one, which is I'm standing up and I'm letting either going attracted to the north or not. So, and it works very well for me. So.
Okay, yeah. So for those of you listening, there's like tools in my toolkit. They're probably, if you don't know what we're talking about, there's tools in my toolkit that I can, that I really want people to live in truth. Because if we live in truth, it wipes away a lot of problems.
Yeah.
And so I teach people tools about how to ask a question and get a yes or a no. And and yeah, people might have some patterns or they might have to practice it a little bit because everybody's way that they get yeses and nos. Like for instance, if everybody listening, if they just think yes, 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 you might feel a little lighter in some part of your body. Like most generally in the general population, most people feel a yes, usually in their head and their heart area. And then if you think no, 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 never going to happen, can't happen, no, no, no. Most people usually feel no in their like belly, you know. So that's a way that people can start. You can ask a question: should my daughter go to the school? If I take this job, will it, will I be happy working with the coworkers? You know, if I take this job, will it double my income in 2 years? You know, whatever it is. So you can ask really cool questions of your future so that you're making the best decision for you and your family. If I eat this food, will it, which diet is the best diet for me, right? Should I do diet A, diet B, or diet C? Because everybody's body is also wired differently, I think, and some diets work better for other people, you know?
Yeah, and I fully agree with you. And I think that yeah, it does definitely work differently for different people. And it's quite interesting because when you're saying this, and I remember also in your toolkit, there's this connection to your guides, which is quite interesting and quite at the same time. At the start, it was a little bit scary for me because I could not connect to any guide, and it's interesting how you managed to get connected to your guides. And if you don't mind telling this story, and after, if you could tell us how we could at least try to connect and find if we can notice our guides around us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So for me, I really do think that because I really, I used to read all the books about these other people having spiritual experiences, and I kept praying to have one. I really did. I wanted one more than anything. I'm like, if they can do that, I want to do that. So again, all my life, I've pretty much prayed for truth and for help from the universe in some cool way. And for me, I always ask that the more dramatic, the better, because that's just kind of because that's just kind of how I am. But I know what you're saying. A lot of clients are a little afraid, and I think it's just because of whatever spirituality you grew up with, or what religion. I grew up with being Catholic, and so when I opened up, I just prayed for guides that were, according to my religion at the time. Now I've seen guides from all different religions, and I really do see those guides around people, So I've seen the energy, some people might call the energy of Buddha from a Buddhist, or I've seen the energy of a Jesus behind people who are Christian. So, I don't think the religion matters. I think that what shows up for people when they connect to their guides is really the quality of energy, or the being associated with what would make that person feel comfortable. I mean, I think that your soul loves you enough that it would only really want at the end of the day to make you comfortable. And so I'm going to just say that right there, because I know that's when I talk about guides and stuff, some people, they have to go through the filter of their religion. And so I just, and intentionality is everything. So if you just ask that I only want these beings to show up with me, only those beings will show up for you. So for those of you listening, now I've done this to thousands of people. And usually people can feel this right away. And if you can't, don't worry, just go along with it. Imagine that you can, because oftentimes we think it's really hard, so therefore we block it, even though it's happening, And so you might have to practice or get my Lever Above toolkit and I have a meditation there where you can connect to the guides and you can listen to it over and over again. And I've gotten... Some people don't do it in the first time, but by the 5th time or the 10th time, something happened, So for those of you listening, there's usually, guides that will help you that have been with you for all your life, whether you know it or not. And these beings are only of love and light, and they only want to help you. And so everybody listening, I want you to just kind of feel behind your right shoulder. And I'm going to ask a question, and how intuition works is the first answer that pops in your head before you can think too much is usually the answer. That's the trick. The trick is don't think. So for those of you listening right now, just kind of tap into the energy behind your right shoulder, and there's a being of light standing there, and everybody's going to be a little different, but just trust what comes in your head and ask, is the being of light standing behind my right shoulder, is it more of a male energy or more of a female energy? And you should have already gotten the awareness. It would have popped in your head already. And again, I'll say it one more time. So is the being of light hanging out behind your right shoulder, is it a male energy or a female energy? Okay, and usually by now it'll have popped in your head. Okay, so that's one of your guides. And usually people have... If you ask a lot of things from the universe, you'll have more guides. So I have tons. I have a lot of guides because I'm always asking for things. Because I want to know more. I want to help more. I want to live my life the most happy I can. And for me, I really love working on people. I love it more than anything. It's like putting a puzzle together every day. So that's why I do private consultations still, even though I don't really have to, because I love helping people, get out of their stuff or get out of their crap and into their better future. So I have a lot of guides. Like if I look behind you right now, Bertrand, you have about 6 guides that are working with you currently.
Really?
Uh-huh. Yeah. So now when I said that, could you tell which guide was behind you, behind your right shoulder? Was it male or female? Could you tell?
I think it was a female.
Yeah, I got female with you for sure. So now watch this. Now the left side. Okay, so everybody who's going along with this, behind your shoulder, left side. Okay, it's a being of love and light. Okay, is it male or female?
I think it's male, this one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, now here's the interesting thing. Does it feel angelic or does it feel more like a guide? So guides sometimes feel a little different than... Angelic beings have a little higher vibration. Guides usually have a lot of knowledge, but might be a little lower vibration, but they still are very practical. So does...
on the left is more a guide.
Okay. All right. So does the guide help you with business or love or your whole life?
This one is more business.
Yeah. It felt more like, okay. So now just trust whatever pops in your head. How long...
It's more action, I would say, than business.
Yeah. Okay. How long has he been with you? Your whole life or a few months?
This one, a few months.
Yeah, that's what I was getting. So about, feels like 3-4 months. So did you ask for extra help back then to take some new action?
Oh yeah, completely, yeah. And I'm kind of surprised because I really did, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, okay, cool. So that's why. So when you ask for something to happen that's new in your life, oftentimes you'll get a new guide. Like if somebody is starting a diet, and they really need help, you'll get some new guides that help with that. If you're trying to find romance and love and meet a new mate, you'll get different guides like that. I love what those guides feel like, by the way. Those are so happy. They're just kind of light and bubbly, and they try to get people kind of giggly and feel good about their life. And then from there, you'll attract a mate pretty easy.
Mm.
So, yeah. Yeah. So awesome. So you can feel all that. So, everybody that was listening, again, notice how when I ask, if you notice how I do it, I ask a question. If you're just going to sit there, but you don't really ask a question, it's harder to kind of tune in. So, you ask a question like, is it a male or female? That's a question. How long have they been with me? My whole life or half my life? Or, so that's another question. So if you ask questions along the way, it's easier for the awareness to kind of pop in. And you can even ask them their name if you want. Some people like to know who it is. So yeah, that's great, Bertrand. So
Yeah,
you went from a year ago to not feeling to now you got guides around you. How cool is that?
Chrissy, it was an amazing journey, I must say. I'm still I'm still surprised at every step of my journey. It's every time I'm learning something new and I'm seeing something new. I'm just, I don't know how to say this, but you see what I mean. I'm like a child, and think, wow, and it's beautiful. It's really beautiful.
Yeah, now you just said something that was like completely and totally important. You said like a child. Because I think Jesus even said in the Bible somewhere, be like the innocent in some ways, right? Or see life through as a child would. But when, you have to understand when these guides showed up for me a long time ago, there was a mixture of two emotions. One emotion was really funny. It was like, it's about time, I've been praying forever. Like, where have you been? you know. So that was like the one emotion is like, it's about freaking time. Uh, and the other emotion was just like you said, that kind of innocence, that awe, that if we can stay in the energy of innocence like a child sees all possibilities. So it does that way to view the world keeps all possibilities open to us. And so usually when we have too many fixed points of view, we completely limit our universe and what it'll bring us. So if anybody's blocked, you usually have a lot of limiting points of view about what's possible. So you just perfectly demonstrated. When we move up into the energy of love or above, like love and gratitude and joy, peace of mind, all of those frequencies really make us feel like a child, like when we were a kid and we just played and were purified in some way, because we didn't have so much heaviness, density, and points of view. So thank you for mentioning that.
Oh, you're welcome. And when you were talking about this, I was thinking about Christmas, and it is like knowing that Christmas is here, knowing that we will receive something, not knowing what it is, and just being so eager to go and be ready to open this, and that's how life is unfolding. But I would
Yeah.
like to say there is a caveat here. There is a caveat is that we need to be in the vibration, in this higher vibration, and when we feel that we are not in this, it's our duty to go back into it.
Yeah, so what I really love about what you're doing and admire and want to acknowledge is you're just really making, there's only two things a person can do is we can make choices and we can be aware. Like that's who we are at the essence of us. So you're making choices, and one of the choices is to be aware. And if you're in a lower vibration, you're choosing to be aware of that and then making a new choice. So that's the fundamental building blocks of a spiritual being who's having a human experience is make choices and be aware. Yeah, so it's great.
Yeah, and then after, no matter what, we uh, at some stage and some days, I don't accept to be into a lower vibration. I just say no, it's not me. I am who I am. I am this wonderful being, and I deserve myself to be at this level. And one trick that I learned is to ask the question, what level am I? And when I feel that I am a level on scale of 0 to 10, of level 5 or 4 or 6, I said, do I really deserve this low level, or do I owe myself to be at a higher level? And just asking the question raised my level of energy.
Wow, yeah, because you put awareness there and a new choice.
Yeah,
So it's awesome.
that's great. So our time is nearly up, Christy. It was really great talking to you, and it's still as we talked just before this interview. It's still very strange to hear your voice because I was so familiar with your voice on the CD, and um, I cannot really say in words what your method, your CD is doing, but it is just amazing. It was a full shift for me.
Yeah, so thank you. Yeah, thank you for having me. So, if for those of you listening, I do personal consultations if people want some help with that. And I think are you gonna put my link up or something, or should I just say my website?
I will put the link up, but you can see the website also because people may
Okay.
be listening on podcast and.
Oh, okay, so it's Christie Sheldon, and so it's Christie. So basically, Christ with an IE. It's the easiest way to remember it. Sheldon, SHELDON.com. And for those of you listening, I have a free gift. This is my favorite part. There's a free gift. If you go to loveorabove.com /gift, GIFT, I have a free heart meditation. And I had a cool story. I went to Costa Rica to do a speaking gig. And this girl in the audience came up to me later on and she said, Christy, I did the free meditation that you had, and what happened for me is I needed to manifest the money to come on this trip. And she was literally like, I think she was 19 or 20 years old. She was really young. And she manifested $3,000 to go on this trip. And after she'd listened to the meditation, what happened is her sister called her on the phone, like right away, right after the meditation. And she said, hey, somebody just called me and they need a nanny to watch their kids for a couple of weeks. And they want you to go with them on another vacation, right? So she got another vacation.
That's pretty cool.
And then they paid her like $3,000. And so she had all the money she needed to go on the trip. And that was from the free gift meditation. And in the meditation, it's about opening your heart. So, opening your heart does a lot of really cool things in a short amount of time. So yeah, that's why I wanted to mention that so that people you can, try it out a little bit before you, if you want to decide to purchase it or not.
Yeah, and I would say that in the toolkit itself, there are tools that sound a little bit weird if we talk about this, but once you apply them, it just changes everything. Like blessing people when you're driving in the car. It's just amazing how everything changes because your full perception of the day changes just by doing this.
Yeah, see, that's why, yeah, so I think there's 18 tools in my toolkit. And but yeah, the blessing ball of light is what I call it. So yes, it's funny. It's a funny name. So you have to have a sense of humor and spirituality, I think. But if you're blessing people so that they become their highest version of their self, what happens is that energy has to flow through you. And because it has to flow through you, you're actually being it. So that's the interesting side benefit to doing blessing others. But yeah, so there's tools to get a hold of your guides. There's tools to know the truth. There's tools to get rid of the energy cords and cut the cords from old people that might be blocking you. A lot of women and men, if they've had old mates and they can't manifest a new mate, they probably have cords between them and the old mate blocking them. And then I have, tools to help the family, kind of grow together. So it's a lot of cool things. Originally, when I did the product, it was really about helping families. And because, a lot of other people wanted it, we opened it up to everybody because my whole thing is watch this. One person vibrating at the level of 500 can positively impact 750,000 other people that are vibrating below the level of courage. So you vibrating at 500 or above, Bertrand, and then you affect your daughter, and then she vibrates higher, and then she takes her energy to school and affects school, and you take your energy to work and affect work, and then you guys affect your community, and then, you know, and so on and so on. So a family vibrating at the higher levels of love or above truly can shift the planet. You know, a lot of people say, well, what can I do in the world? I'm just, you know, small little me or whatever, right? And I have a family, I don't have time. But seriously, you just working on you and your kids and your mates and all that will literally change your family bubble, and your family bubble will impact everything and everybody around you. So, you know, this is really kind of the grassroots. How do you change the planet? You change yourself.
Yeah, you,
Seriously.
you change yourself, and because you are changing your family, that also means that you want to go home, and because of this, everything in your life changes, because you know that home is really home.
Yeah, and then think of like the next generations. Like think of what your daughter's going to be empowered to do. Like your daughter will now like raise her family in a certain kind of way that, you know, just really positively impacts a bunch of people. You know, she's going to be so empowered. She's going to go to school or college or when she's, you know, and she'll be able to teach her friends. Like I have a family of four that I know. They have four kids, but some of them are in college, and these kids are so empowered. They're like sharing these tools with their friends so that their friends can get through school. College is stressful for kids that have just left the nest, you know?
Yeah, completely.
Yeah, yeah. So it's kind of it's just I don't know. I just what I love about it most is it gets to change the world just from us changing us and you know, sharing things with people around you.
Yeah, completely. And I have experienced this, and I can say this 100%, even more than 100%. Completely true.
Great.
Okay, so thank you very much, Christy. It was really, really a pleasure to have you here, and really, thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for inspiring everybody. I really appreciate what you're doing in the world. Just shining your light out and inspiring. Hopefully, you will put out millions of people.
That's my goal for this year. It's 1 million people, yeah.
Yeah, we'll bless you so that you manifest millions of people listening to you.
Thank you very much.
I must say, I really, really love this, and I love her laugh. Her laugh makes me cracking all the time. And the funny thing is that Christy is like this in her life, and she's laughing and living her life like this. So no matter where you are in your life, no matter where I was in my life, no matter where Christy was in her life a few years ago, you see, there is light after the tunnel. There is light at the end of this. And even if you're feeling sometimes that you're stuck in your life, you know what? If you decide and you choose to go in a direction, it's all about a decision. You choose to go in a direction, to choose to be the better version of you. You choose to be vibrating at a vibration that is higher than what you have today. You choose to move forward no matter what. You know what? When you embrace these decisions and you decide to become, as some say, the light will be here. And when you will be in the light, you will be this person. It will be you. So it's not an elusive something that you're chasing. That will be you with all your facets, all your light, all your power, completely you. So take this with you this week. Take this that you have the power to become more. You have the power to be this. You have fantastic example around you, and I'm bringing more and more of them to you. So do this. And if you're feeling a bit stuck, then don't hesitate to contact me. You know, I will be glad to do some one-on-one coaching. Like Christine was mentioning in her interview, I don't need this, but I love to do this, which is kind of cool. But I would love to help you, really, seriously. And I would love to do this with you for a period of time, so that you will see and feel and experience and be the new you, the real you.
Okay, so thank you very much for listening. It was a pleasure again. And thank you to Christie to come on this show. I am filled with gratitude, I'm filled with joy, and I'm filled with I can't believe that she came, and I am like a kid now, and I'm happy. And next week we will have somebody talking about something as powerful, talking about forgiveness. Her name is Brenda Adelman, and her story is terrible, but you will meet an incredible lady, really incredible, and her message is powerful. And I'm really looking forward sharing a message with you. Meanwhile, don't hesitate to contact me if you want to be part of this opportunity that I shared with you at the start of the show. It is something unique. It's something that I have been manifesting, hoping, wishing. I don't know how to say this, and it came, and it will help many people. So I'm wishing you a lovely, a wonderful, a great week. Take this with you, that you at every moment have this choice. Will I continue? Will I become more? Will I become me? Will I allow myself to shine? Will I allow myself to be powerful? Will I allow myself to take some risk, to move in my life? And then be ready to receive everything that I want to receive. That's your choice. That's your power. So live with this, and I'm wishing you a lovely, a wonderful, a great week. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Design Your Dream Life. I hope in the last hour or so I inspire you to take the next steps and action in order to create the life of your dreams. My name is Bertrand Dory, and it has been a real pleasure. If you want to find more about myself, feel free to visit my website on www.designyourdreamlife.org. And to find more about the show, go on this website, radio.designyourdreamlife.org. So thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to talking to you very soon. Bye-bye.